Okay, so this is a quick tutorial on how to tie 3 popular and easy fishing knots for beginners. Now I'll be tied onto this swivel as an example of the knots, but this can be used for hooks directly onto lures and other end tackle provided it's got a loop. You get hooks without loops and that's a different type of knot. But for this one, these are 3 simple knots for any end tackle with a hoop on the end. I'll be using the Gotcha size 5 fishing line for this tutorial. That's a 9.3 pound breaking strain. Coloured green, I hope it's going to show up okay, as this is my first fishing knot tutorial. In future I might go for a different fishing line colour. But let's go for this quick tutorial on 3 popular and easy fishing knots. Okay, our first hook that we're going to be doing today is the Palomar hook. It's the simplest, it's the easiest one. It's the knot that every fisherman learns first of all. It's very simple and easy to do on the riverbank. It can be a little bit tricky if your hands are cold and there's wind blowing and stuff like that, but let's just start it. Thread your fishing line through your hook eye and give it plenty of line through the free end, and then just double back on yourself going back through. So you got 2 strands of fishing line going through your eye, and your fishing swivel or end tackle should be able to just swing freely on 2 lines of fishing line. I mean, on some tutorials you'll see that people will sort of fold the line first and then thread it through the hook, but you'll find that those fishing tutorials will have really big end tackle with big eyes, and it's easy to do that. It's not always easy to do it that way if you're on a fishing bank, your hands are cold. It's far easier just to thread through 1 strand of wire at a time. So as you can see, if I bend it over, you can see that even if you try and squeeze it down close together, it's still not always going to be an easy thing to thread through a small piece of tackle. So once we have it on and the end tackle is just swinging freely, we want to tie a simple granny knot or a half hitch knot with the 2 ends. So the loop end going over your main line and loose end like that, just simple knot. So let's go up and over and under. So once it's through, what we want to do then is to put the end tackle, our swivel or our hook, through the loop end of our strand. So it needs to go through there, just simply put it through, and we want to make sure that it doesn't get caught up anywhere on a hook or on a bead or anything like that, and it goes all the way up to the top. Now this can be a little bit fiddly sometimes, especially if it gets caught at the bottom of the hook eye. You just need to sort of gently prise it up to give yourself a good, strong, solid and clean knot. So it can take a few moments just to do. And let's bring it up and just gently move that piece of fishing line upwards, and we can just tighten up and make it into a nice clean knot. This is what I'm saying, it's not always easy to do this knot when you're out on the bank, it's wet, it's cold, your fingers are going a little bit numb, and you have to sort of try and delicately move your fishing line up and into a good position to just tighten up, do that final tightening up to make that knot nice and clean. Right, so once we've done that, we can really get a good pull on the fishing line just to tighten it right up. Do an individual pull on the main line and also on the loose end part of the line to make sure all of that slack's taken up. Some people like to just give this line a bit of a wet now, because as you pull up, you're going to add friction. That's nylon is of course plastic, so it's going to melt, and it can weaken the fishing line itself as you tighten up. So that's why some people tend to lick it. And then we can just clean it up by clipping off our loose end. And that's a nice clean Palomar knot that's going to hold strong in most situations. And it's the first knot, a simple knot that everyone can do. It can just take a little bit of fiddling, a little bit of time, just to get it nice and clean. So let's move on to our second knot. This is the Trilean knot. I find it easier to use on riverbank. It's not quite so fiddly as the previous knot in trying to get the ends over the eye of the hook. So let's start this. Let's just put this fishing line through the eye of your tackle. Give yourself about 5 inches of free line with which to work, and then you want to wrap that around your finger, creating a sort of a loop of fishing line. That fishing line then needs to go back through the eye in the same direction as the first fishing line went through the eye. So back through the eye and then back around your finger. So effectively creating 2 loops around your finger. So once you've done that, what you need to do is to twist or pass the loose end of your line around the main line about 7 times. 7, 8 times depending on the thickness of the line and the strength of the knot. But 7, 8 times is fine for a monofilament of this size. Now once you've done 7 twists, you need to get the end of the loose end and pass it through loops that are going around your finger at the top. And once you've done that, you can take your finger out of the loops and then just start to tighten up the knot. You can wet the line at this stage, if you want to reduce friction, reduce the heat, and to protect the knot from melting or burning or weakening in any way, and just gently sort of tighten it up, and you'll see that the knot will form around the eye of your tackle. And just give it a good twist by a good stretch on both the loose end and the main line to bring that knot together. Now once you've done that, you can easily just tidy up this Trilean knot by snipping off the end of the loose end. Let's just snip it off with the snippers. And there you have a really nice, really strong and easy to do Trilean knot for your fishing tackle. Okay, this is our final knot of today, another simple one. This is a uni knot, or I think it's also called a Gummy knot. So let's just start off by threading through the eye of your tackle, your swivel or your hook, and you want to give yourself about 6-7 inches of line on the loose end to play with. You then want to grab hold of the loose end and make a loop with it and bring it up next to your main line. So let's just loop it up and bring it to the main line. So it's like this. You then want to loop the loose end round the loop and the main line 6 or 7 times depending on the size of your fishing line that you're using. A thicker fishing line you can go less, and a thinner line go more. But I'm going to do this for 6 times. So once you've got it done 6 times, let's just grab the end of that. You can then start to pull on the loose end, and that will start to Let's get that sorted. And that will start to tighten up the knot. Now when the knot's almost tight but not quite, you then want to pull on the main line end and leave the loose end free, and that will bring the knot down to the eye. So once that's done, you can just have a quick look at the knot, make sure everything's in place. If it looks like anything's going to get caught around the hook eye, just move it up and then tighten up again on the loose end of the fishing line, and that will tighten the knot up quite nicely. So let's just tighten that up. And once the knot's tightened up, you can pull then on the main line again just to finish it off, and that will bring it right down to the hook eye and just complete the fixing of the knot. Give everything a good tug and pull to make sure it's all in place, and then you can clip off the access line to give a nice finish. Now I tend to use this knot mainly for braided fishing line, and I'll tell you why. It's because if you look closely at the other two knots and compare it to this knot, you'll see that the fishing line only goes through the eye once with this knot, and on the other two knots it went through twice. So for that reason, for monofilaments, I tend to use the Trilean knot a lot more than this knot, and I'll use this knot if I'm fishing with braided line. So that's it. That's the final knot. 3 simple and easy knots for for novices. My preferred knot is a Trilean knot. That's the one I normally use. Then it's this knot,